Hello, everybody. My name's Jillian. Um, and thank you for coming to my session. I hope you can hear me okay. You can, I think. Beyond the basics, this is UI Builder tricks for workspace customization that you're probably missing. Uh, if you are or aren't, I don't know. Hope you enjoy this session. Um, um, so we will get started. Okay. Okay, so this is a workspace. So this workspace started basically as a simple upcoming PTO tracker. Thought that it would be kind of cool to create a page like this to show off. I could have just dragged a couple record lists onto the page and call it a day, but that's kind of boring. And so today I want to show you a few ways you can take something standard in UI Builder and make it feel custom and dynamic without writing, I don't know, maybe about 400 lines of code. Um, oh, hold on. Let me see if I can do that. Is that better? I hope so. Okay. Um, so I'll walk through three quick tricks I used. One is a dynamic header, a conditional image, and custom repeater cards. And these are all small details, but together they make the workspace feel alive. Um, no code is a lie. Okay. Maybe that's a little true. Okay, so we're going to start off with a dynamic header. As you can see here. Uh, I wanted it to feel a little personal. For me, I actually absolutely love fall. I love the seasons. I have my entire house decorated in fall and Halloween. And so I wanted it to look kind of cool and personal. And I wanted it to be something that reacts to who you are and the time of year, actually. Um, so the greeting text up here. Is powered by client script. And I'll show you this after I talk about it. Um, it pulls your first name from the user context and checks your role. So if you're an admin, you'll get a slightly different greeting than an HR user. So here, as I'm an admin, you get this message here. Then, because I can't resist a little fun, I love emojis, so I added emoji logic based on the time of year. So snowflakes for winter, sun in summer, pumpkins in October, that kind of thing. And actually, if you say refresh the page, you get a different emoji every time, and it's also based on the time of year. Um, so all that runs right in a client script that I created, and then I bind the script output to the header text component. And so the component stays simple. And there's no hard coded text, no variants, but it still changes dynamically. Um, and this is one of those tricks where a tiny bit of logic makes the workspace feel designed for the user. And so so the user greetings, I created a script here. And I have it doing a seasonal rotation, emoji rotation based on the type of year, and it's if else statement or conditional, and I have sets of emojis for the type of year that it is. Also in the script, I added in the role-based message logic. So if you're a regular user, you'll get welcome back to your daily workspace to manage your tasks, or right here, it's the PTO and team activities. If you're an admin, as you saw, as I'm an admin, it has that special. message as a manager. It'll say, "Good to see you, manager. Your team awaits." And then finally, if you're an HR user, "Thanks for keeping our people happy." Um, and so I have that dynamically running through the stylized text, and so it'll change anytime again with your role and year. So as we move on, oh, and yes, I might have spent like a long amount of time deciding on like which emojis to use and which autumn theme. So, but that was the fun part for me. The second thing about the header is actually this photo. I use the conditional renderer. Um, it's really exciting because it changes based on the time of day. So, um, if it is, I think, past 4 o'clock, it will change to a nighttime fall theme. And in the morning, it is this morning theme. And I use the conditional renderer component for this. This is new to Yokohama. And it's actually really exciting that I got to use this and show you guys. Instead of manually swapping banners or creating multiple variants, I used a simple condition that checks the hour. So, like I said, if it's 4 p.m. or later, the image switches to a night version. And that's all handled by the conditional renderer right here. I didn't have to duplicate the layout or load separate pages. And why this is really important and fun to use, I think, is so now people can try to do this with component without. Sorry. So some people try to do this using the component visibility, which is what you used to be able to do before they created the condition, their conditional renderer is so that technically works, but it means both versions of your content still get preloaded into the DOM, and they're just hidden and shown based on condition. So even though the user only sees one image, the browser actually is loading both behind the scenes. That can add weight to the page and slow down rendering, especially if those components are complex or heavy or image heavy. And so the conditional render is smarter, and it only mounts the matching component when the condition is true. And then the rest doesn't exist in the DOM at all until it's needed. And that is really important. Um, and it's a small difference that makes a big impact for user experience and page performance, especially when you start layering dynamic layouts or images like this one. Um, and you can do the same thing for holiday themes, role specific branding, or even data driven visuals, like showing an alert banner only when open request exists. Yeah, so this is a quick way to bring your workspace to life with a bit of logic. All from configuration and not customization. So that was really exciting to get that to work. Um, and so next, let's see, we'll talk about, or I'm going to go over the custom cards with a repeater. So I didn't do the typical record list. I didn't use cards actually. I wanted to make this as custom looking as possible so that maybe when you look at this page, you might not think that it's ServiceNow or that you could make it in UI Builder. And that was really important for me to be able to showcase today. Um, so this is the main content. Out of the box, UI Builder gives you can get, like I said, you can just do a record list, which works, but it is kind of rigid. Um, I wanted a layout that feels more modern and gives me control over each field's design. So I built this with actually a repeater component right here. And the repeater component is it loops through it loops over records from any table that you use. So I created a custom HR time off table with demo data in it. And oh gosh, my screen just turned off. Okay, sorry. um, and then so each record becomes its own card inside of a container. Inside each card, I dropped two stylized text components and I bound them to fields. Things like the employee name, the status, the type. What I have here is so the repeater takes in the data array, which I have bound to a data resource, and I'm using the lookup multiple records data resource. And then you can display all of the results and it's preloaded into the data repeater. And then anything that you put, any component or container that you put inside of that repeater can then replicate and display all of that data. And you only have to do it, say, in like one container or one main container instead of having to reduplicate this multiple times, and then again not having to use the record list. And so this way you're able to customize a little bit more in what is shown. I like to have fun with things and I like things to look pretty. So uh, this is was a fun project for me to do. um, so to make it feel more like a real dashboard, again, like I said, I wrapped all the card containers so it's inside of a grid container. The grid container, as you can see over here, the styling, you can have it have 3 columns. I mean, I could change it to 4 and it will just change it. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Uh, Oh, it's in a different thing. I'm sorry. Anyways, so like you can change it around. You could change each card if you want to change the grid. Um and so that uh so yeah, so I wrapped all the cards in the grid, and that's what gives me the clean, responsive layout where the cards automatically line up and wrap as the screen size changes, which I really like, um, because that takes out having to use custom CSS or media queries. So as you can see, if I make my screen smaller, it will adjust the size of the cards. Um, and if you make it bigger, it will adjust the size again, um, to the size of your screen, which is it's really nice that it's that easy. So the repeater takes care of the iteration, and all I did was apply my own container styling so it looks like a real card. So I use subtle borders, drop shadows, and a little spacing. Um, so if you see down here, I added a background color, a border, um, and again, a light shadow so that it actually looks like a card without having to use a card component. And then I kind of did the same a little bit. I was pressed for time. I wanted to make this look a little bit more polished, but whatever. um, and so right here, I have a title for all the data for the first stylized text. Um, I used a H4 tag for the size and the boldness, and just use a little bit of alignment. And then for the next stylized, that brings in the So if you use the repeater for the data resource, you can actually then grab the data that you're pulling in from the repeater. And so here I can grab the value. And since this is the employee name, I can dot walk basically to display the name, and then it will pop up right here. And when you hit apply, it will show up. And again, the best part with the repeater is that you do it for the very first one, and it will act that way down the line on every single card, which is time saving, and it's really helpful. Um, And so again, this is a great example, like how you can create custom layouts that still use platform data, but look completely different from out of the box lists. So I wanted to, because I did kind of rush through this a little bit. Um, a couple of things that I had to add in to kind of get everything displayed. So for the conditional renderer, um, I did create a get time of day um, script. It's a pretty simple script um, that will tell you when to change based on a state property. Um, on the state property that I created, and I'll show you that in a minute. And so we have it set up that at 4 o'clock it changes to night, and then when it should have the image for the daytime. And so the client state parameters that I've created for this whole page, one is so for the greeting line 1 and 2, which you'll see for the hello system and welcome back to your command center. And the system, of course, it will say your name if you're not logged in as a system admin. Um, and so when using the user greeting script, um, that will pull in um, the two state parameters, and then it will update based on those two lines right here. And then you have, um, let's see, is daytime, and um, that's for the conditional renderer image. Um, when you go to the main body wrapper that runs the whole page, you have all of these page event mappings. And so when page is ready, this is where I bring in the scripts. So it's grabbing the user greeting. So it's taking the script and grabbing it. And then it will, anytime the page refreshes, it will grab that data from the page and then run the script. So then that's when it knows not only the time of year, but what to run in both of the stylized text components. And then the same thing for get time of day. So it's going to, again, since it's at the top level, it's going to grab the time of day from your user preferences. And also the DOM that your screen or your computer is running on, it will grab the time of day, and then it will generate the image. Um, So like I said, for the conditional render, it's pretty simple, I guess. Simple and not so much. So when you create the conditional renderer, there is one other thing I didn't have time for. You actually want to have a third option for your like always or a finalize a catch all just in case. I did not create that. But in best practices, you'll want to have um that kind of like else if at the third one to catch any errors or anything. So that is one thing you should do if you ever want to use the conditional renderer. So, anyways, so for each one, you want to label each, and then this is the condition. This is what I use to bind the from the data resources. I brought in this. I brought in a elevate time of day data resource, and then it will grab. It will use the it will grab the time of day, and it uses my client state parameter that I also am using in the data resource to update the image when the time comes. And so that will be used as the condition. And then for the evening time, I used the same condition, but I actually made it as a not, so as a false in the beginning, so that when daytime is false, it switches to true. But you want to start it off as having it be false when it is daytime. So I use the same condition just with a false in front of the nighttime. Um, so let me see what else. I And then, oh yeah, so the other data resource, I talked a little bit about it. I use the lookup multiple records. You can pull in any table, um, and you want to render the table here. You can add a condition, say maybe active is true, but I didn't add a condition to this one. I didn't need it, but you can add a condition. You want to bring in any fields that you actually want to display. So these are the fields that I have displaying right now. Um, and you can add an event, say if you wanted to do a filter, or if you wanted to actually click into the cards, you can add an event. Since this is a very simple uh, page, I did not add an event at the time, but it's actually something I still really want to work on after this. So I might actually start to, add a couple more things to this page. So with that, so basically, but I can go over everything again. So what do we do here? I used a client script to make the header dynamic and personal. I used conditional renderer to change visuals based on context. No extra pages needed. And used a repeater to build custom card layout with CSS styling for complete control. None of this require custom components or cloning workspace pages, and it's all config level tweaks you can do in your own instances. The big idea here is that UI Builder is capable of so much more than drag and drop layouts. Once you understand how to combine data binding, conditions, and simple styling, you can give any workspace its own personality. And that's the fun of it. You don't have to rebuild the engine, just learn where to flip the right switches. So, with that, I will be writing also a blog about going more in depth about the things that I created here, along with the scripts that I used. That will be linked to my LinkedIn account. So if anybody is um kind of excited about what I did and maybe wants to replicate or see, the scripts that I used, watch out for my blog that's going to come out. And then my link tree or my LinkedIn is, I think it's in my profile. And so, yeah, and if anybody can reach out to if you have any questions. And I mean, and if you have any questions now, I could try and answer. Awesome. Thank you for posting my LinkedIn. So, um, oh, that's awesome, Jeff. That would be really cool to see. Awesome. So, if anybody else, yeah, I will be around. And oh wait, we started experimenting with service. So, Jay, I haven't yet. I've strictly been in UI Builder. Also, I do custom components in using Seismic, and but that is something that's on my list to do, is learning the studio. But I don't know. We'll see. Oh, thanks, Ty. So, oh, oh yeah. Honestly, anything with Gabby and Brad is a must see to watch. They're my favorite. Yeah, MGOPW. She's the goat. Yeah. You should definitely rethink UI Builder. I know that it's a little rough around the edges. That's why I try to think of really cool, interesting ways to like think outside the box. Um, and I still love actually coding in I love doing custom components and being able to code everything out. But I'm really learning a lot about all of the more custom ways that you can use UI Builder and the components itself. Plus, they just came out with the custom component builder inside UI Builder. So that is going to be something I'm going to be working on and checking that out and seeing how good it is. So, tips for okay. So Jay, um, honestly, um, I would go and get a dev account and get your dev instance going, and I would just start playing around. One really big thing is you and I Builder Live on the ServiceNow Devs YouTube channel. That is a lot of fun to watch. And they have great tricks or great tips and tricks. They go over things with them, and it's actually fun to see people like you see Brad and MGOPW and oh gosh, I'm like blanking on all the other people that attend. It's kind of fun to see them flop a little bit, and they even sometimes have problems and come up with errors in their own code and stuff, and to see them kind of working through it. And um, there's a ton of those videos in that YouTube channel. So I would suggest going there. I know that the next experience, there's stuff in the community that you can go to that have great tutorials. The in the ServiceNow University. Oh God, I got a minute left. Okay, the ServiceNow University, Jay, is really great. There is the beginner and the advanced UI builder um, UI Builder class or whatever thing you want to take, those are really great too. So that's what I would start with. So, well, you guys have an awesome day, and this was so much fun. And please reach out again. And like I said, I will have a blog up in a couple of days to showcase all of the script and everything that I used. So, bye.